everybody.
Hello.
We are back in the studio, the home of Sunday Music Group and Five Stones Productions. I am Michael.
And I'm Teresa.
And it's Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
Thank you. I'm a father. She's not. Yeah.
No, but I made you a father.
Yes, that's true. She helped.
Twice.
Absolutely.
What do you mean? I did all the work.
That's true. She did all the work. Yes. I wasn't expecting it to go this way this soon, but there we go. We are there. All right. We also had a little bit of special today. We both got scheduled at church to play in the band, and she sang. I don't sing, but I was playing the bass, and she was got to lead some songs and play the piano. It was a lot of fun.
It was a good morning.
Yeah, it was very
really
good.
Enjoyed it. Yeah.
And I got, they gave all the guys the Father's beef sticks. So it was cool. Yeah. But big, beef jerky thingies. So, yeah, that was our gift for Father's Day. And, don't you wish they gave that up for Mother's Day instead of the rose? No, you guys got.
No, we got hand sanitizer.
Yeah, you guys got all
nice.
kinds of cool stuff.
I love mine.
So, we also, yesterday, you had a group of individuals in here that you are working with. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, well, we're not going to give too much away.
Okay.
But there was a group of young people, I think they're late teens, early 20s, with a ministry called Train Up Ministries. And we're going to have them on the podcast as soon as we finish their project.
Okay.
But we spent pretty much 10 hours in the studio recording the choir, the worship team, on this project.
And this is their stuff that they do and they put together.
So it's for their ministry because they minister in different places. And we had such a great time. They were great kids and really talented. And
we had an In-N-Out burger.
And very anointed, which is honestly the most important part of it. So it was so great that I'm sitting there thinking, we have to have them at our annual Thanksgiving in August fundraiser.
Yes.
That's coming up on Saturday, August 22nd.
And why did we start that? What happened? What was so special about last year?
Well, last year we did it Thanksgiving in August because our daughter Noelle turned 40.
Yep.
And we were just thanking God because they said she wasn't gonna live at all.
They sent her home to die, and that was 14 years ago.
If she did live, it'd be 3 to 5 years, and then here it is later. So that was we had such a great time of just different friends singing and speaking and just celebrating, and we raised a good amount of money for our nonprofit with these hands.
Right.
And so we decided to make it an annual thing. And
we added a little bit more this year. We have
we added a little bit more time. It's from 10 to 2 with a lunch break with Rustico.
Rustico's Pizza, and there's vendors. There's going to be vendors there, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
So mark your calendars. It's coming up. It's
they will be performing in the afternoon at that.
They will be doing 2 songs.
Okay.
So that's going to with the band. We got an
and what's the date
band.
of that?
August 22nd.
Okay.
From 10 to 2.
She has. I won't. I don't do dates.
At the Rock Church, Temecula Valley, which is the church that we attend.
Yes.
And so it's going to be great. Mark your calendars, and we'll give you more information as we get closer. But it's going to be such a great time. A lot of fun. Great music. Great speaking. And we're super excited about it.
Yeah,
celebrating
it's going to be cool.
And thanking God.
And there'll be pizza there.
Yes.
Pizza.
That's the most important thing for you, I know.
Yeah. Speaking of important things, we were talking about music, and you can't see this, but I'm going to point up in the corner there's 2 pictures of one of actually Reese playing piano at I think 4, but there's you also at 3 or 4 at a piano playing it, and I just wanted you to you started at 3 years old playing the piano, and I don't know when you started singing, but tell me why. That's a long time ago, and you're still doing it, and you still seem to have fun.
Yeah. Well, I didn't start taking lessons till I was 7, but my parents did buy a piano when I was little. I mean, really little. and I would plunk around on it. The first time I ever sang on a stage, I was 3.
Oh, okay.
And that, at church, and all the little kids sang, and I had, my floofy little ruffly dress on, and I held it in front of my face the whole time. So thankfully I don't do that anymore. But I think the reason I loved music to begin with was my parents and I were always driving around in the car across the country somewhere. And my parents, they loved to sing. Like they would sing hymns and bust out harmonies. And, my brothers sing. My uncle was, a professional singer for a while. But other than him, nobody else in my family, although there's lots of musical talent in my immediate family, I'm the only one that did it for a living. But it's just been a part of me, and that's just who I am. Like I'm a Christian who's a musician. I'm a musician who's a Christian, but music is just a big part of who I am.
Good.
So
yeah. And you also like to teach it.
That's true. I've taught lessons. The first lesson I ever taught when I was 16.
Wow. Okay.
And that was because I wasn't that great of a musician at that time, but I knew more than the person who wanted me to teach them.
There you go.
That's how I started teaching. Now, let me just say, even some of the most amazing musicians that I've met in my life, people that play an instrument are not always good at teaching.
Okay.
So there's a little caveat there, but I do know a lot of amazing musicians that are great teachers. And
Hee Haw.
Shout out to Denny.
I remember that you said, what was the joke? He should have roller skates on the piano bench because he moved around so much.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that experience, because that seemed to really add a lot of Tabasco sauce to your playing.
Well, Denny, so our first year at college, and I was a music major. He started out as a music major.
Yes, I did.
But yeah.
Then I stepped into theology. So.
So we all had to take piano lessons. Of course, I'd been playing for a while, but I could read music and I could play by ear a little bit, but I was just kind of like playing chords. I didn't really know. And I was 16 when I went to college. He was 17. But we started the same year.
Right.
So my teacher was... So everybody was teaching a certain way that everybody had to play these hymns. Near the cross, bump, bump, near the cross. It all had to be this, right? And so, but Denny, he's teaching me, it's like, and I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea what I was doing, but I could regurgitate it, right? And so, but I had to tape it on a cassette tape. And then he'd kind of tell
cassette
me,
tape.
do this here, do that.
Time ago.
So then I'm spending hours in the practice room, rewind, trying to figure it out. And so then at the end of a semester, they had what they called jury, where our dean of music, Lanny Wolf, and all the teachers like Mark Carruthers and Wayne Goodine, and I can't remember, there were several others.
Jeff Switzer, I remember that. He was
Jeff, yeah. And so all the students had to come in and play their song that they learned for jury. And so everybody else is playing it like they're supposed to. And then so I come in and I'm just like, and Lanny Wolf is just like, who's your teacher? Oh, Denny. I got an A, though.
There you go.
So thank you, Denny. But let me just say, because I have to give a shout out to Brother Lanny Wolf, because at that point in time, especially at our school, there were not a lot of female pianists. I mean, really, there was none that I can think of right now. There was a lady that she played the organ.
Okay.
But there really wasn't anybody that played piano for the choir and all of that kind of stuff and different groups and stuff. But he really gave me the opportunity to learn and be, whether I was playing, the main keys 1 or playing the keys 2, stringy sounds or whatever. He really gave me an opportunity to do that. But just let me say, and for those of you that know, and I don't know her. I never knew her, Nancy Grinquist, but I know a lot of you, if any of you that we went to school with, knew Nancy Grinquist. But I knew who she was, but I had never seen her in person. And I don't remember what year it was. I think it was our freshman year that we had like a music conference every year. That was like a big deal. Mm-hmm. And we had mass choir, and then the chorale sang, and all of that.
And this was all at the big convention center in Jackson, Mississippi. And it was a big deal. People flew in from all over the world.
Yeah,
so,
and
it was fun.
There was a live recording every year, and so I remember that Nancy came and she was singing a couple of her songs. She was crazy. She was like this, and she did walking bass, and she was doing all this crazy stuff. And that she really inspired me, and I never got the opportunity to tell her, but she really inspired me to be the pianist that I am today because I saw a woman doing that.
Okay.
It was very, she's probably like 10 years older, and she passed away this year, suddenly.
Yes.
Great talent, mighty woman of God, still videos of her at like 70, I think, just playing, still crazy.
Yeah.
I hope I'm still that.
Well, your whole thing, you don't want to retire. So
no, there's no retirement in God's kingdom.
There you go.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of, little nuggets along the way where I really grew in my musicianship and learning. But I do want to tell one more story.
Yeah, go ahead. It's your show.
Is it?
Yes. She can, yes.
Because I talked a lot last time.
That's true. I didn't talk at all, which was nice. That's fine.
But there was a prophet who is with Jesus now called Kim Clement, for those of you that know him. And at the church that we were at the time, he would come every once in a while.
Yeah. And
so I was a part of the band and part of the worship team there and assisting.
So was I.
Yeah. It was with Phil and Jeannie Muncie at the Life Church. And so when Kim would come on a Sunday night and, he would play for a while from South Africa. He was crazy, a rocker that got saved, right? So he would play for a while and minister in that. And then he would get up and then he would preach or give words to people. And then when he did that, he would ask me to come and play behind him. And I'll never forget, up to that point, my brain was all about the theory, right? And I planned out, and this is probably in my late 20s, I had to plan out everything. Practice. I planned everything. I didn't really super flow. I had my certain things that I did. But I'll never forget one night, he's praying for people, and I'm just playing, and I all of a sudden, I just realized I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. Yeah. I was just so engrossed in the ministry he was doing, and I looked down on my hands, and my hands were doing all this stuff, and I was like, whoa. And then I just thought, I really hope I remember how to do that later. And I did. Okay. And so I just got this transference of anointing.
Wow. Okay.
Where not that I never had to practice again, right, but that it wasn't the stress and the struggle of having to play. Like I could just flow without thinking too much about it after that. So I really am thankful to have had that opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know that you have a love for the bass.
Yes.
You play bass guitar.
Yes.
Very well, very creative.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So tell us how you discovered that you loved the bass.
I was shortly after my father passed away. He was in seminary in St. Paul, Minnesota, and Eau Claire, Wisconsin is about 90 miles away, so it's across the border, and that's where I was born and raised till that point in time. And so then we moved to Minneapolis when I was 6, I think. And he was going to seminary, and then he got sick, and 3.5 years later, we moved back. And so I was probably around 10. I was like around 1970. And we had moved back into a really bad church split. And I didn't know what church splits were then. All of a sudden, I just knew that friends I had, I couldn't talk to anymore. It was really weird, right? Don't ever go through a church split. It's not fun. And we ended up in this little postcard. It looked exactly like the church with the white church with the steeple on top, the little one that you see on a card or somebody painted or in some old movie, old Western. That's exactly what it looked like. In fact, it had a stove in the corner that was like belched oil dust. And sometimes it would just belch and everybody would have to move, and then they had towels and we'd have to wipe the pews down because it would just, all this soot would just, it was, and it had an outhouse. There was no bathrooms. Yeah. They had an outhouse in the back.
My grandma's church.
Okay, and this is in Wisconsin. So in the wintertime, it was cold. And you held it until you got home. But I'll never forget, it had kind of this, I don't know what kind of church it used to be, but they had the pulpit in the middle, and then they had 2 side thingies up there, like if there was going to be a little choir or something. And I remember a rock band got saved. And, this is before churches had drums, or it was right when they started to have drums and guitars and stuff like that. And I remember this drummer, he got saved, and his whole rock band got saved. It's kind of funny. And so all their instruments, and they wanted to play at church. And the pastor said, cool, go ahead, do it. Let's do it. So he set up his drums. He had Gretsch drums, really nice. Okay, this is back in the 70s, handmade, it's really cool, Gretsch drums. And then, and so I was like I said, about 10, and my mom was, this is the beginning stages of her music ministry, where she was the music pastor at this church, and then she ended up at another church in Milwaukee for almost over 20 years, I guess. But I had been on the stage with a little snare drum, and I would play a little snare drum, and my grandfather would play the violin, and I don't know who else it was. I think there was my grandmother played piano. Yes, that's what it was. So she was on the piano, and I think, I can't remember if it was an organ, but I think somebody played organ. I'm going on a rabbit trail. So one day, I remember I wish I could remember his name. I can see his face. He brings this guitar case, and he opens it up, and it's a Gretsch, semi-hollow bodied Gretsch bass. And I'm like, whoa, what's that? He goes, that's a bass guitar. Yeah, I said, what's a bass guitar? And so he was playing it for me. I said, you know how to play bass? He goes, every drummer in a band and every bass player in a band play drums or bass. He says, just that. We just switch. And that was my first, I can still see it. It was like an aquamarine finish on it with the little cutouts that made it look like a violin. And I just was like, I got to play bass. But I got sidetracked because I wanted to play drums first. But when my mom remarried, my stepbrother played the drums. He's really good at it. So I got kind of booted on my dreams for drums. So I got into percussion. My first concert I ever went to was Andre Crouch and the Disciples, and his sister played congos, Sandra. And I remember seeing her on stage playing these beautiful congos, and she had other percussion instruments. And that's it. So I started we bought Latin percussion, kunta and tamba, whatever it is. just the congos, and they were blacking on the stand, and they ended up opening so many doors for me. Because I got percussion, got tons of percussion instruments, and learned how to play timbales and all kinds of stuff. And I was able to I played on tons of albums because I was a percussionist and nobody had percussionists. And in the meantime, at college, speaking of college, I ran into this prodigy bass player, Benji Linker. And he would he'd use his guitar, he'd let me take the guitars home, for Christmas and everything. And I just started playing it. He would help me, and I would watch him play. He was just amazing, just off the, I can't even tell you how good he was. And that kind of got me started. And I never really wanted to play regular guitar and messed around with it. I never really wanted to learn keyboards, but I just liked the bass. And then I began to realize how beautiful and how important the bass was. Because people think, oh, just a bass player. No, you have to understand, the human body is built to, like, you hear a loud, high noise or like a guitar, or a shriek or anything, what happens? Your ears kind of shut down, right? Or if there's a big loud noise, you plug your ears because you don't want to go deaf. A bass, your body has no defenses against that. If if you got a big subwoofer in your car and you're pounding it and it shakes the car, you are going deaf and you do not know it.
Yeah.
It is damaging your eardrums because your body has no defense against it. Now, you combine that with playing on a platform in a spiritual setting where you're in church and you're playing with the anointing or whatever, that transfers right through the bass. So if you come in there and you got a bad mood or you're in a ticked off or you got an attitude or whatever, there's no defenses for the bass. So that is transferred right into people. So you have to be extremely careful when you play the bass guitar because there's no defense to that music that you're transferring into people. And so every time I pray, I do a self-check and do a self-check and do a self-check to make sure that I'm in the right spot before I play on a stage, and put that low note out that you have no defense towards. And it's been a beautiful journey for me. I loved it. Like I said, my mom was a music minister at a large church in Milwaukee. It's my step-uncle's church, my stepdad's brother. It started with 33 people, ended up being the largest Protestant church in Wisconsin, not just the largest Pentecostal church. And she was a music minister, and she loved black gospel. Yeah. That's what she listened to all the time. And she used to go down to the inner city in Chicago, and we'd buy albums, James Cleveland and Walter Hawkins and, all the mass choirs. And we'd listen to that on this big, beautiful, we had one of those big, beautiful, stereo systems that's were as big as the wall, and they were all, they looked like a coffin. and there's a turntable right there. Yeah. So that's what I was raised on, and that's why I'm a white boy who can play funk. And I love it.
Play that funky music, white boy.
So that is my brief story about playing the bass. And now I've interchanged. I've the one that got away is my Ken Smith. Is Tyrone Porter's bass of the Doobie Brothers. He traded in and just happened to be there at the right time at a music store up in Redwood City, and I let that one get away. It's a 6-string, but I have my Olympic 5-string. I have my bongo. Music Man 5-string, and then my newest addition is my fretless Merlot Diva 6-string, and I played that today actually.
And not the only diva you have,
but you're the most special diva.
Good answer.
Yes. On that note, anything else you would like to say?
Yeah, I think that just talking about bringing a circle back to. What we're talking about, having a music school and teaching and just passing things on to the next generation, how important it is, because we do teach a lot of kids.
Right.
We're vendors with several charter schools, and we teach adults too. But I think that it's so important in fact, I was at this appointment the other day, and this lady was saying something about AI, which she wasn't a fan of on any level at all. But she was saying, because I was telling her what we did, and she was saying how, with AI, nobody's ever going to want to learn to play an instrument ever again. And I was like, I have not found that to be the case, because we teach a lot of kids. I know a lot of people that are learning to play an instrument and how important that is. You can't replace it with AI or anything else, because it's so, I did a bunch of research for a music school that we were working with, and they wanted parents to understand how important it was for their kids to learn how to play an instrument, like basically any instrument, that if you learn how to read music and play at the same time, like music is really, I don't know of any other thing that you do, and I could be wrong, but I've tried to think about it, anything else you do that you use both sides of your brain. Because a lot of times kids don't like it when I say, hey, music is very mathematical. Right, because the theory of it, the tuning of the instruments with the waveforms and all of that, it's all math, right? But then you have the creative side of it. And I always tell them, we're going to learn the rules. We're going to learn our scales. We're going to learn how do you make chords based on the scales, all of that. We'll learn the rules of music, but then the creative part of it, you break them. Because you have chord progressions like this. Once you go to this, it goes to this, it goes to this. And that's how normally, pretty much all of contemporary Christian music follows that formula. But the creative is basically, I know that I should go from the 2 to the 5 to the 1. But you know what? I'm just going to throw in a chord that's not even in the key, which that is doable. So that the creative side of it, it really enhances all your learning in all your other classes when you learn to play an instrument. And there's tons of studies. You can Google it and grok it and Claude it and chat GPT it and find out all the research that's been done on learning how to play an instrument and how, like you were saying, the power of music in general, where you can hear a song, whether it's Christian or secular, and you hear that song for good or bad, it will take you right back to when you heard that song. Yeah. And so the power of music, it's like I said, for good or bad, it has such a power to it, not just in the melody, but in the lyrics. And that's why it's so important to make sure that you think about what you're thinking about in the music. Because there's so many times I've been teaching a voice lesson, pick a song, give me a couple songs to choose from. I know I had a student one time who the mom was just kind of telling me in private, she's been having a lot of problems with depression and suicidal thoughts and all of this stuff. And so we came to lesson, and I know she's probably 13 at the time. So she played me this one song she wanted to learn to sing, and I'm listening to it. And it's basically, I hate myself, I want to kill myself. I couldn't even tell you who did it, but it was what was popular at the time. And that's probably late 90s, early 2000s. It was all about how horrible everything is. So I said to her, do you know what this song is saying?
Yeah.
No wonder you're having. So I talked to the mom after, and I was like, well, I can tell you right now, a big part of it might not be the only reason, but this is what she's filling her head with, and the Bible said whatsoever is pure and lovely and noble, of good report. Yeah, noble. Think on these things. So, if there was anything else to end on today in our kind of meandering, we're just having a conversation today without
we're just talking shop,
not like a big agenda, but if there's anything I think that we should end on is just, hey, think about what you're listening to
over and over again.
Because even if you're not consciously,
Right.
if you don't even consciously know the words, that's getting in you.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, fair warning there.
Fair warning.
Not to be not to end on a downer, but hey, it's important.
Well, choose. I mean, just think about what you're listening to. I mean, it can change your whole day by what you listen to in the morning.
Yeah. Well, it's even like what our pastor was mentioning today, because we've been complaining about this for a while.
We never complain.
How a lot of contemporary worship music is so whiny.
Yeah.
Like, oh, my life is so bad. Oh, this is so awful. Like, yeah, but I guess I'll just still praise you, God.
It reminds me of, anybody remember, was it Hee Haw? Gloom, despair, and agony on me, deep dark depression,
excessive
misery. If I weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. Gloom, despair, and agony on me. All right, with
I didn't even know I knew that song. But hey,
On that note, happy Father's
praise
Day.
God. Praise God.
Yes.
Make your worship about praising God.
Amen.
Get your focus off of you and your boo-hooing.
Yes.
And put your magnifying glass. I said that this morning.
Yeah.
Let me end on this and we'll stop.
Oh, okay.
I always say this little thing like, David said, my soul magnifies the Lord. And we just say that. We don't know what it means, right? And so I made everybody today get your magnifying glass, and how we always have it pointed on our checkbook or our problems or this person or that person or everything that is wrong. And then we take our magnifying glass and we put it up and we magnify the one that needs to be magnified.
Amen.
So that is what you need to think about today.
And
Put your magnifying glass up.
I feel all spiritual now.
Good.
Thank you.
You should.
Thank you. All right. All right.
Hey, we've got some great guests coming up on our next podcast in a couple of weeks.
Yes,
so look forward to that. It's
Yes.
going to be a lot of fun.
Okay. Peace out. Word.
Are you going to stop talking now?